Hello everyone, welcome back again to Angela's Craft Room. As promised, I said I'd do a video on this Lawn Fawn die that I used on my Daisy pop-up card that I did a few days ago. And so I've got back and I'm going to do this video in two parts. So I'm going to show you what I use to make the base of the card, and then part two will be decorating it, because yeah, it's quite an effort. Like, it took me quite a while to do the Daisy pop-up card. I ended up punching out 28 daisies. So and I also want to show you on a few tips on, because you can send these flat through the mail even though they pop up like in the picture here. If you don't put too many embellishments, you can fold them and send them as a normal card. But with my Daisy pop-up card I did, because I was hand delivering it, I really put in a lot of daisies. So to get started with this die, it's called the Scalloped Box Card Pop-Up Die, and it is from Lawn Fawn. I normally do Stampin' Up, but I really love this die so much I wanted to share it with you. So this is, when I get my dies, I take them out and I put down in a CD case, which I buy these from Stampin' Up. I use a magnetic sheet and I just adhere it to one side of the CD case, and I put all my dies on that side. And since I've been doing that, I've been using my dies a lot more. So to start with, there's this big one, so you would cut out two of these. Okay, so to start with, I've cut out two using chocolate chip from Stampin' Up, and you can see I've already put tear and tape on the little tab. Now these come, when you cut them out, they come scored and cut, and I make a lot of these cards. I get orders for them, and I used to do all the measurements and cutting and everything, and it just used to take me a long time. So this has really cut down on my time. One thing I will do before I forget, I will put below this tutorial a link to a card I did a very long time ago for you, and it does have the measurements if you want to have a go at making one with the measurements that you'll have to cut and score yourself. And I'll also put a link to the Daisy pop-up card on my blog. Okay, so what I do first is just using my bone folder, I'm just going to do, there are score lines along the top, but just to attach them, this is just how I do it, and I just like that. Then I'm just going to remove this tear and tape, and then I'm just going to put this flush, so it's right at the bottom, and then just pop that down there. And I wouldn't use anything but tear and tape. So as you can see, the card's already cut, and then all you do then, this is just so easy, I tell you, it's my best friend. And I still use all the Stampin' Up images as well when I'm making them, just depend what the person orders. And then I literally just bring that over, and just give it a bit of a rub, and then that's your card already done. That's how easy it is. Now we are going to bend these score lines back and burnish them, but before we do that, my next step, what I like to do is, you will get in this frame, in this die, you'll get 1, 2, 3/4 stitch shape framelits. Now the good thing about these is I don't just use them up on the pop-up cards, I also use them on my cards as well. So these ones, what they do is they cut out the shape for you that you're going to stick to the bottom, as so, and then also to the top. So it just makes life so much easier. So I've already cut them out to save time. So then what we're going to do is I'll just grab one of each, and I'm going to glue this onto the bottom. This is just some DSP I had in my stash. So you can see they're 4 different shapes and sizes. So that one will go at the top. This one will go at the bottom here. So I'm going to grab my glue and we're just going to glue them in place, and that's why I wanted to make it a part 1 and part 2, because there is a lot of gluing and layering to go. I just want you to see how easy it is using this die, like that. Then this one goes on here, and then I'll need to grab exactly the same. And what I like to do is I like to put cardstock under the flaps as well, because it does add stability to the card, just makes it that little bit thicker. So just try and line it up with the other one. It's not, you know, don't be too perfect, because when it's standing up they're not going to see it anyway if it's a fraction out. I just try and get them to be straight. Then I'm going to turn that over, and I'm going to need a piece and a piece for that side as well. You can use your snail if you want to, but I like to use a Tombow, because if I have to move, if I don't get it, especially if it's an order, if I don't get it straight, I like to be able to maneuver it a little bit. So I'm just going to pop that one down there. And in part 2 I'll show you how I decorate the inside of the card. So it's a great way to use up your scrap DSP. I did mention a few videos ago with all my DSP I've got, I have cut it up into 6 by 6 inches, and I've put it into cello bags, and I've put the name of the DSP on there, and it's really making me use all that DSP up, because when it's in a big pack I just think we tend to store it and we don't use it. So like that. So that's, you've already done all that. So then, and at the top here, I might do it off camera to save some time, but all I'm going to do is put some soft sky. So I've used the same framelits to cut it all out, so that's going to go on there. So I'll do that a bit later so that you don't have to sit through that. So then we would just score these open. Because as I said, when it comes out of the big shot, it will be scored. It will be scored and cut for you, so you don't have to do any of that. And then I leave the back piece, personally, I leave the back piece up like that. You could just bend it a little bit if you wanted to, but when you finish the card, what we want to be able to have it flat like that so we can post it away. Now inside here, what we need to cut then, we need to cut some of these. So what this is your inserts that go inside your box. Okay, so they are scored as well. I just haven't, that won't go that way, that won't go that way. So you can put as many or as little in as you want. Like in my daisy box, I think I put about 4. You can put more, you can just put 2 in there if you want. So when it comes out of when you've cut it out with using this piece out of the big shot, it will just come out like that, and it has scored lines on the end which you need to fold and pop your tear and tape on. Now I find it best if you just peel off one end at a time. Now when you put your foot, I tend to go from the back, so I want a space at the back. I'll show you what I mean. I'll just pop this one in, and you just got to try and put it in as even as possible. And I find if you take your tear and tape off both ends, you're going to end up not being able to maneuver it. So you can see how that's going to go, and then I just flatten it. It's the easiest way, and then you've got your, and I'll just pop another one in. So I've already put the tear and tape on the end, and it already has those score lines for me, so I'm only bending them over. It just saves so much time. I can put you onto where I got mine from in Australia, but if you're not in Australia, just Google Lawn Fawn supplier, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you. And I shouldn't have taken both of those off at once after me telling you. Yeah, just getting a bit carried away. So with this one, I'm just going to put 2 in, but you can put as many in as you want, just depending what effect you want. So that one. And what I mean about leaving a gap is just leaving a gap. Some people put these in too close to the back or too close to the front, and then you can't stick your images in. So I'm just going to put 2 in this time. So you can see how easy that is. So then you've got your inserts inside, which we're going to be gluing images to that in the next. And I've got a couple of things to show you with that. A lot of people ask me, well, where do you put your sentiment? Where do you put your message? Well, I usually put a piece of cardstock on this back flap, and I write, well, whoever, if I'm doing one for someone, I would write the image I would write the message up there. And then I like to have my sentiment on the front flap here. So we'll do that when it comes to it. So that's that. So the other thing that you can do with the die is you can make this really awesome banner. So that can go on the back of your card. I didn't do it for the daisy, obviously, because it was for an older person, but you could make the banner and pop the banner, glue the banner down in there. So the important thing to remember is try not to have any images going above this back piece, because if you do, when you fold it like that, they're going to be sticking out here and you're not going to get it into your envelope. So that's another tip for you. But I'll show you what they give you to make your banner. And I find using the fine tip glue pen is the best because it is quite finicky. Now I'm just going to zoom you in a little bit because these are quite small pieces. Okay, so you've got those pieces and those pieces. So what they give you in the die is you get this piece and that cuts out these. So that will cut out 2 of those at once. And what you're going to do is you're going to put a bit of fine tip glue down there and you're going to glue 2 together to give them stability. Okay, and then this piece, the piece goes across, oh sorry, that's out of camera. This piece goes across the top so you can pop your banners on there. So I like to cut 2 of them and glue them together with fine tip glue pen because I find one is just too fine and I think over time they might tear. So I just put the fine tip glue pen's the best I find to use. So I just use a bit of glue into there and then put those together. And this is the piece that you'll get to do that. So there's that piece there. So that's the 2 pieces. That's like the pole, and that's the piece that goes between the 2 poles. Okay. Just another tip is when say you've glued your 2 pieces together here, just remove this. When you've glued one, so you've put your fine glue tip pen, you've put your glue down here. My tip is that you hold one end in there, and it can get a bit messy, a bit gluey, but if you just hold that there for a while, it will take, as soon as it's taken, then what you would do is you would take your other piece and put fine tip glue down there, and then you would just glue that one on top with the white piece in there, and it will not come apart if you use the fine tip glue pen. And then you would do the same the other side, so that you would get your 2 poles and then the little piece that goes across for your banners. Okay, so that's that. And then for your banners, you get in the kit, you get these ones. These are your small banners. So this one here is the banners I've used for this one. So when you put these through, you cut out 3 at once. So you get 3 single banners, or if you want like the diamond shape, you get 3 of those at any one time. What I tend to do is when I'm cutting out any of things, even for one box card, I just cut out a heap of extras and I just pop them in a cellophane bag, and then I've got them for later on as well. And the other thing that you get is you get 2 big pieces, so they're 2 big banners. So like in the picture, they would have used the big banner, and you can see that they've only fitted 3 across, whereas with my banner I've got 5 going across because I've used the smaller banner. So, and you can use these on your cards as well, so don't limit them to this. And then lastly, 2 more dies, if I can pick them up, is the little stars and the little hearts. Now when you run them through your Big Shot, they'll just come out as single things. So you run the hearts through, you'll get 3 hearts, and all single. They're not joined together, they're single. The same with the stars. And I punched a heap out yesterday, and I just put them in the bag for whenever I want to use them. And they are just to decorate your card. Like if you want to put a heart or a star somewhere, you know, you can just decorate your card. So that's the die that I wanted to show you. What I'm going to be doing is we're going to be decorating it with a stamp set from Mama Elephant in the next video, and it's called Fly With Me. Oh, should just taken you out a bit there. So yeah, so Fly With Me, and it's these gorgeous little elephants which I have started to colour, and I will with the stamping blends. So I coloured these in the stamping blends. I thought they would be perfect for a box card. So in the next video we'll be popping them all on. I'm not going to do any colouring, it takes too long in a video, so I just really wanted to show you how easy it is with that die to make this card, to make this box card, pop-up card. So for those that were asking, I hope that's helpful, how you do use it, and what all the dies are that are in that die, because there's quite a lot of dies to use, but you don't have to use them all. And just think outside the box. You can use, remember I said these framelits, you can use them on your cards as well. So that's why I really liked the die as well, because it was not, I was just not going to be using it to make these boxes. So give me a couple of days and I'll be back and we will decorate the box. And until next time, happy crafting!